Hello, and welcome back to Elevate Within. I'm your host, Sandy Davis. Elevate Within is for the high achieving women in the messy middle, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself repeating the same pattern over and over again? The same self doubt, the same overthinking, the same perfectionism, the same cycle of burnout, even after promising yourself that this time will be different. Many of us believe we are making conscious choices. But what if some of the thoughts driving those choices aren't actually serving us? What if the inner critic, the people pleaser, the hyperachiever, or the controller has been quietly running the show for years? Today's guest helps women understand the hidden mental patterns that shape how they think, lead, respond to stress, and move through the world. I am honored to introduce my friend, Coach Maura. Drawing from positive intelligence, neuroscience, mindset coaching, and her own lived experience, Maura helps people strengthen what she calls mental fitness, the ability to recognize the thoughts, beliefs, and the survival strategies that keep them stuck and replaces them with healthier, more empowering ways of navigating life. Through her work, she helps people move forward beyond the self judgment, professionalism, burnout, and overwhelm so they can create lasting transformation from the inside out. In today's conversation, we're talking about mental fitness, self worth, burnout, inner critics, positive intelligence, and the practical tools people can use immediately to change the way they relate to themselves. Maura, welcome to Elevate Within.
Thank you, Sandy. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. So excited.
I know I'm so excited to have you on. So excited. Let's start at the beginning. So before we get into like the mental fitness, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your own journey and what first led you to become curious about MindWorks?
The most pivotal moment was when I found out I was expecting. And I reacted like I was 17 and oh my gosh, I have nothing prepared. How am I supposed to guide this kid? I am not excited about my life. What am I going to do? I was successful. Like I had a city job with retirement and benefits, all the things that my mom wanted for me. But I felt so lost. I felt so unfulfilled. And then of course, as women do, I put this pressure on myself to figure it out. All right, I'm going to
Yeah.
figure it out. Yeah. And that was just at the 12-week ultrasound. It was, yeah, and it led me on this journey to figure it out. Yeah, and that's how it started.
So what about before the pregnancy? Who was Coach Maura?
Okay. After I graduated from college, I tried out corporate and it wasn't for me. So I did cocktailing, I went to New York to pursue acting, ended up in some really funny places. So when I finally ended up I was a project manager for the school department. I started feeling like energetically messy was the best way I can describe it. And I had
Mm.
remembered one of my clients when I did solar, I installed solar. And he mentioned that he was getting his Reiki certification. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need an energy clearing. Let me figure that out. And it was post pandemic. So I looked up what I could do in terms of getting an energy clearing. And I found this woman. I liked her stuff, reached out to her, and I got an over the phone Reiki healing. So I'm
I
like,
didn't
all
even know
right,
you could do that.
I didn't know. Like, I mean, okay, so what do I got to lose? I'm telling you, I was willing to try like anything. I'm like, what is going on? So did the healing, and there were two things that stuck out to me from that reading. And she said, I feel a presence on your heart. I'm getting that it's your dad. And I freaking burst out into tears because I didn't tell her that my dad had passed away like
Mm.
2 years prior. and crying and crying. And then once we moved past through that, there was another thing that she said. She said that I had a massive creative energy coming from my womb. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. I haven't journaled. I haven't danced. I haven't done anything fun to like nurture that artist. I've just been work, 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 work. Um, and so I told myself, I'm gonna go dancing now. Yeah, I'm gonna put on some songs, put on some Sean Paul and Bad Bunny and just shake it, right? And then 2 days later, my partner says, "Aren't you late?" I'm like, "Yeah. So let's go get some oysters and cheese and wine before I confirm." Yeah. So then we confirmed after the fact. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Well,
That's what
so
she
I
was
technically
talking about.
that's what she was talking about. So I had an energetic, like, pregnancy test. And yeah. And then I had the physical one. So then from that, I kept working with her and working with her. And that was when I decided, I'm like, you know what? She actually gave me the strength and courage to say that I wanted to be an actor
Hmm.
because I couldn't say it. And, like, a part of me was just like, "Ugh, I can't,
Why is
like, it's
that?
not allowed." Hmm?
Why?
So my parents are from Cambodia, and they came here as refugees because of the Khmer Rouge. And the Khmer Rouge targeted anyone that they deemed had Western influence or
Mm.
influence from the French colonization. So teachers, artists, people of influence were targeted. Um, and my mom's first husband was a teacher, and my dad was a teacher. So they came separately. They had separate families, all the things. So when they escaped and came here and had me, which was like a whole ordeal, artistry was not in the mix. It's not a safe path to take. It was My dad was very happy when I chose business school.
Mhm.
But they wanted doctor, they wanted lawyer, they wanted life security. So when working with my life coach, it came out. I'm like, I think I want to act. Like, I still whisper it. I'm like,
Why do you whisper it?
I want to act.
There you go. You got
Stories,
people turning that volume up right now.
I know. Explore the human experience and just, empathize with characters and explore their mentality, things like that. I'm like, I find that so interesting. And when doing that work with her encouraged me, like the same way teachers inspire their students to become teachers, that's what happened with her. I'm like, you have given me so much clarity and courage to say the
Mhm.
thing. I want to do this for other people. And I didn't know which specialty to go in. So I looked into parenting, I looked into nutrition coaching, I looked into personal training, hypnotherapy, Dharma coach. I looked into so many things, but nothing was like a yes or like a complete skill stack that I would want to hand over to my son.
Mm.
But it was like bits and pieces. Like, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting, just kept following the breadcrumbs. And then tragedy happened when my life coach's parents' plane went down October.
Mm.
And it just hit me even harder, where I was like, what am I going to give to my son? If anything happens to me, like, what body of work can I give to him?
Mhm.
And I was open, I kept coaching, and I discovered positive intelligence training. I got curious, like I always do, which in business school, I did take positive psychology because I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
Do I have that? Do I need that? Am I terrible at that? Like, let me figure it out. Yeah,
Right,
I
right,
was
right.
pretty not good at positive psychology. I'm like, this is so wild. People are nice to themselves. That's wild.
Foreign
But right.
for a lot of us, where it's just like, huh, didn't know.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought
we
it was
find out late.
yeah. I thought
Yeah.
tough love was the only way to go about it.
We didn't know it was
You
tough
know.
love until they started naming it today and
Right.
today's time, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. But keep going.
We
Sorry.
had like Michael Jackson's dad in our head. So I'm just like
That was normal. For that was normal.
so one of the I listened to Bob Proctor a lot, and Bob Proctor had said something that stuck with me, that there's three things that we pass on to our children: our journals, our photo albums, and our books. And I'm like, okay, body of work, let's go. And I gotta hand this over so that if anything happens to me or his dad, I have something to hand to him. And like, I know that he's guided. I know that he's self guided. I know that he's self sourced. I know that he won't outsource his intuition, and he won't outsource his inner
Mm,
guidance. Like, how do I trust myself?
that's
Because that's what I
beautiful.
was lacking. Like, after a whole looking back, and I'm like, look at these, all these mistakes. I'm a total F up. How am I supposed to guide this kid? Which it was the initial
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
Like, I'm such an F up. Like, how am I going to do this?
I'm sure most women go through that when they're
Mm,
about to have their first one.
mm, whoop. And then that's where it's like, okay, mental fitness. I want my son to be able to have in here work for him, serve
Mhm.
him instead of sabotage himself. And I'm very for leading by example and leading from the front versus just lecturing at my son, because that is what happened with my upbringing. Not all the time. My parents did their
Mhm.
best,
Right.
but from observing, not just my parents, but just all the grown-ups in my life, it is very difficult to lecture something and not live it
Right.
yourself. Because your kids can sense the disconnect between what you say and what you do. And I appreciate that about my upbringing of seeing this. I'm like, okay, this is the cost when we don't live in our word. If we're not authentic to our word, okay, cool. So let me lead by example. If I'm going to tell my son he has to have good mental fitness, this is how you do it. This is how you train this. You can forever go to yourself and be your own inner cheerleader, your own inner coach, and not the you're not
Mhm.
good enough until, you're not good enough until. I'm like, yeah, you'll get it done. But the way that that action is informed, it 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 tracks a certain kind of experience that you're gonna get, the type of people you're gonna get. It informs all of that. So if you have control over how you talk to yourself, or you can gain control, then life is full of hope. And you have like some agency of what is actually happening, and not just be like a victim of circumstance.
Wow. So you originally did this for your son,
Oof.
and
Yeah.
then what made you want to translate it over where it was like, "Hey, I wanna help other people with this?"
I love that I started with it had to be good enough for him, because
Mm.
if it's good enough for him, it's gonna be good enough for everybody else. Cause like I want to take that mother bear, like
Mhm.
tiger mom in a healthy way, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we've heard about in-laws that are like, you're never gonna be good enough for my son. Like, nah, I'm just gonna apply it to like work, like a body of work. Like, is this skill set good enough for my son that here you go? And if anything ever happens to me, I don't have to come back and haunt you and like raise you or something like that. Like, here you go, you know? So part of it is the mental aspect, the mental fitness of it all, and being like your own best friend. Because if I think the big reason that there's so much judgment and lack of acceptance and lack of love out here is because we don't even have that for ourselves.
Mhm.
If I don't have understanding, love, and acceptance for myself, how am I gonna give that out? I don't have any. You know what we do have a lot of? We
What's
have a
that?
lot of judgment.
Yep.
We have a lot of criticism, a lot of hate, a lot of nitpicking, because we have enough of that for ourselves.
Right.
That's why it's overflowing everywhere. And it's like,
And
okay,
it's that voice in your head, that negative voice in your head, where you can't decipher the difference, and sometimes it's like, "Hey, if I have that voice inside my head, then I need somebody on the outside to give me that positive reinforcement, or I try to find it." So I totally get that. So question for you, what are the most common mental patterns you keep seeing women get stuck? And how many women do you feel struggle with self-worth, given all that they may have accomplished at that time?
a common pattern is if there's a self awareness there. If there's self awareness there, it's this: I am not enough until.
Mm.
And the goalpost always moves. It's until I make this much, until I have this certification, until I have this role, until. And we don't celebrate ourselves. Actually, that's the most common thing. We don't celebrate the little things.
Yes.
And even if we get to the big thing, it's like quick, a quick celebration. And then it's like, okay, that's the what's the next thing? Um, that practice of, and that goes hand in hand, the not enough and the not celebrating the small wins. I think that's like the most common thing that I see over and over. We make ourselves small.
Mm-hmm.
Even me myself. Hide away. My light makes people uncomfortable. Wanting more is bad. Oh, that's another one, Sandy. Selfish.
Yes.
We are so afraid of
Yep.
being perceived as selfish. Um,
Yes. Because we weren't conditioned. We were supposed to be selfless.
oh, it's much more holy to be selfless.
It's the conditions that our mamas, our grandmothers, our ancestors, which I'll be talking about part in the series that I'm doing, The Art of Unbecoming, where it's like, hey, we need to break down the conditions that we were
Yes.
raised from generation to generation. So I was like, we are still acting like, I mean, our great grandmothers in a time like maybe from the 20s, that actually should not apply today. But yet we
Mhm.
still condition, especially from mothers to daughters. It's a condition. You have to be quiet. You have to respect yourself. You have to shrink your rooms. You have to serve others. We are just an act of service.
Mhm.
And we put ourselves in the back of
Bottom.
the line. Yeah, or the bottom.
Bottom.
Or we put a pin in it, like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like you said, like, we're constantly moving the goalpost and we're
Mhm.
not celebrating the small wins.
And that just communicates to our daughters, to ourselves over and over and over that we're not worth celebrating.
If you, what would you do if you had a daughter? Like, would you provide the same
Girl,
booklet? Would
girl,
you
you would
provide the
already
same for your son
oh,
as you would for your daughter?
oh my word. Everything I always feel like I had a son for a reason. What is the reason is for me to like navigate and make my own meaning. But if I had a daughter, I couldn't tell you because that's not the experience right now. Of course, there's like, oh, the curiosity, but it's not here right now. And all I know is that, yeah, it's going to trigger something in some parallel universe. I got a daughter
Yeah.
and not a son, and maybe in the future I might have a daughter. I have no idea. In the time, like I trust in the timing. I trust in if it happens, if it doesn't happen, but all the time right now, my daughter is my inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
It's
that.
her. Yeah, and here's the crazy thing, she was always there. I could not get it together for the life of me for my own inner child, but once my son came out, it's like, "Whoa, okay, like, heart outside of your body." But also, the way I want to heal him, I'm now taking it and keeping it for myself as well. Of like, "Okay,
Yeah.
what do you need to hear right now?" Okay.
In regards to your practice and your coaching, you had mentioned the saboteurs. So why don't you let the folks know, you know, what are they and how do they show up in everyday life?
Okay. We have our top we have the judge. The judge is the part of our brain that judges self, others, and circumstance. And the judge pulls in the saboteurs to like do the work. They're like, hey, come online. We're gonna attack. Right? So there are 9 main saboteurs. And the saboteurs are the hyperachiever, hyper rational, pleaser, stickler, victim, controller, restless, avoider, hypervigilant. Before the training, I could not identify the habit outside of me.
Mm,
It was like, this is how I am. What do you mean? It was like a one piece of Velcro, and I could not peel them apart at all about when I'm judging. I couldn't even tell I was judging myself. Judging people was my first language. Be serious. It wasn't even Khmer. It wasn't even Cambodian. It was straight judging because my parents I love them, love them. They know how to judge,
yeah.
which is not exclusive at all to my
Right.
I'm just saying from lived experience.
Most parents are. Yeah.
Yeah, and you hear it so much that it becomes, isn't this how we relate and talk and think? Just by judging left and right, left and right. So over time, and so with my son being born, I can't have him talking to himself this way.
Mm,
Because how we talk to them, it becomes their inner voice,
right.
right? And
Right.
even though I can say, don't judge, and he'll be like, Mom, you judge all day. I'm like, oh man, yeah, you're right. How do I not judge? I couldn't tell you before. Now I can hear it. I can hear when my clients judge themselves. They can't hear it. Like, I heard you say this, and then you minimize. I heard you say this, and then you disregarded, you know? So it
Yeah.
takes practice, but it's so doable, especially because I was a former mean girl.
Mm,
I
I
was
was
mean
for
to
a little
me.
stint. Yeah. Yeah.
I was probably mean to other people too, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was definitely one of the mean girls to myself. I think at times it still comes up. She
Mhm.
still, pops in,
Oh,
like
yeah.
being a little lazy today, or you could have done like 5 or 6 other tasks while you were doing this task, because we are the champion multitaskers. With that, like, which saboteurs do you see most often in women navigating like the burnout, leadership, and reinvention?
I might be projecting, but hyperachiever. The women I work with, hyperachiever. Hyperachiever comes up a lot.
Hmm.
But I feel like they come up, the judge is always going off and it comes up in different ways. So, yes, hyperachiever comes up a lot, but then all the other ones, they come online in different ways in business. So the avoider where we avoid tough
Mm,
conversations, and that trickles into, tough emotions. Like, what am I avoiding? Because we can say everybody procrastinates. So I'm late diagnosed ADHD, happily unmedicated, super regulated, sort of. But everybody says, like, I procrastinate, I don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why. And I don't know why is judging yourself. Straight up right there, right? When we get curious, and which is one of the sage powers of like, empathize, like, okay, and then innovate, like, how long would this actually take? Okay. Can I do it for 5 minutes? Okay. And then you activate. That's the activate part of it. When we stop judging ourselves of like, why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I? Then we can move into the sage brain. Because on this side, the judge brain is the left side of our brain, super rational. And there's a place for it. Of course we
mm,
need structure. Of course we need to get things done. It's very masculine. And then the sage part of our brain is the expansion and the flow and the feminine side. We need both. But with overachieving women,
hmm.
we are so in our masculine. Do, do, do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do. And one of the things my life coach said to me that like hit me like a ton of bricks was, Maura, you're not a human doing. You're a human being. Like,
Mm. I love that. Ooh.
what happens when you can just be? First of all, I don't know what the hell that meant. What
Not at the time.
do you mean? What do you mean? I sat with that. I was like, what does it mean when I'm not doing anything? Because it'll come up, like you said, it's like, I could be doing something else.
Yep.
I could be doing 4 or 5 things. And a lot of my clients are like, I feel so guilty when I get my nails done because I'm thinking of all the things that I could be doing right now that are more productive than getting my nails done. And
Right.
it's like, wow,
Because we are not being, we are doing.
we don't deserve a little pampering. Whatever it
Hmm.
is, choose your thing
Right.
that makes you feel good and honored and pampered, right? We feel like we have to earn rest.
Yep.
We feel like we have, and then a lot of us, the restless, a lot of us, when we're resting, it's like the mind doesn't stop. The body did, but the mind didn't.
Right.
So, how do we train our brain to ease into it? Ease into it so that our body can, yeah, get
Yeah.
online.
How do women know when their inner critic is actually running the show?
That's a good question. How do women know that their inner critic? A second part of my work is the energy optimization of it all, and I use this system called human design. And human design is layered. It's quantum physics, astrology, I Ching, and the Kabbalistic tree. So it's a lot. But when we look at what is called a body graph, or when we look at this energy chart, we can see how we are built to operate.
Mm.
And one of the main ones is when we know that we're feeling good is satisfaction. We feel satisfied. Huh, women and pleasure? What? And the other side of it is like when we're out of alignment, we feel frustrated. We feel stuck. We feel stagnant. Now, what we've been trained to do is to muscle through the
Mhm,
frustration and
mhm.
muscle through the stagnancy. And next thing you know, like, what percentage of people have autoimmune issues? It's like this whole thing, it's like this ripple
Yeah,
effect of like when I keep working against my energy and working against my heart and working against my mind, our body goes into dis-ease, like literally, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
if the question is, how does a woman know, what was the last part?
When their inner critic is
Oh,
actually running the show.
I feel like when she actually takes a minute to stop, she feels empty.
Mm.
But if we don't stop, we'll never have to feel that.
Which is probably why a lot of high achieving women, including myself and you, we just keep going. We're just busy, busy, busy. Speaking of like, the mental health, and I know we spoke about this a couple of days ago with mental fitness. So, what's the difference between mental health and mental fitness?
That is a question for ChatGPT.
Y- Younger
Wait,
generations.
don't give ChatGPT no platform. Screw them. Okay, that
Younger
is a
generations
question.
be like, how do I answer this?
What's the difference between mental health? Okay, for me, mental
Hmm.
health has now become just like another word. Like, oh, I'm taking a mental health day. What does that mean? What does that mean? And for everybody, it's different. And now it's taking me to one day. Okay, one day I I was over knocking door to door. It started taking a toll on my everything. I
Your
just couldn't
body.
do it anymore. Because doing door to door solo, oh, it's
Door to door sales.
door to door solar sales. I'm
Oh,
going
the
to
solar
random
panels.
houses
Yeah.
selling $80,000 systems on your house on loan. Like, it is not for the faint of heart. So I was doing fine when we were going in duos. I felt safe. I felt like, okay, and camaraderie, love. But when I started being sent in alone into random neighborhoods, my body started reacting and I started judging myself. Like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? I did this before. Like, more, just go, just go, just go. Over and over and over. I did it for a bit. But then one day I just couldn't. I hit a wall. And I called my manager and I said, hey, I'm taking a mental health day. So for me at that time, mental health is just a break. Like, I just
Hmm.
took a break. But then later, I went back in again. I didn't really have any difference between that day and the next day, except time, except
Right.
stopping the thing that stressed me out. Did I have any new tools or training to go into the next day? No. And that could be like, hey, me asking for what I need. I need a partner. It could be asking, that's the only thing that comes to my mind of the only difference between going in duos and then going solo. Or maybe this job wasn't for me after all, you know?
Hmm.
But from taking that mental health day as a break, going back into something that I didn't really enjoy, like it didn't help me much. It
Right.
was the only thing I could do was pivot out of the position. That was it. Um, so that being said, mental fitness actually requires training and intention. The same way that we go to a personal trainer and work out at the gym and push and the things, it requires intention. It requires challenging yourself. There's a difference between like holding a 2 pounder and a 10 pounder and a 20 and a 30. Like you ramp up, right? As you get stronger. Funny enough, the PQ is positive intelligence quotient. The training is a meditation. It's a type of meditation that increases your presence and increases your brain on your right side of your brain. It it powers your sage brain, the right side of
Hmm.
your brain to come online and like pause and not be so reactive and pause and look at it differently. and pause and not take things so personal, you know, like
Right,
all
right,
the
right,
things that
right.
it helps. So like when we say mental fitness, I really hope that, you know, we start taking care of our minds before it starts going. The same way taking care of our bodies before things start breaking, you know,
Yeah, you're
prevention
absolutely
over
right.
cure. Hmm.
What is one thing listeners can start doing immediately for the mental fitness? Like someone who's listening to this right now and they're saying like, "Yep, I need to do something right away." What's one thing they can start with?
When I start off my clients slow, when they're like, I have no time or I'm like trying to do 8 billion things, I'm like, all right, here we go. We're going to do a 2-minute meditation after you do a number two.
Yeah. You
So
know what? It's a vulnerable moment. We ain't going nowhere. That's the one
you're
time where
already
you have
there.
to, you're already there. You're already sitting down, be like, yeah, there's
It's
nowhere
a
we can
trigger.
go. You're right.
I hope you're moving your bowels like once a day or something.
We are releasing.
Yeah, you're stacking. You're habit stacking. Here's one habit, old habit. Here's the new habit. All right. 2-minute meditation. 2-minute meditation, you set a timer for 2 minutes and you do what is called a fixed gaze meditation, where you concentrate on one thing and you just look at it for 2 minutes. You look at the details, you look at the colors, like, and I like to think of it like if I was to draw this with colored pencils, what would it look like?
So
You
no
know?
phone. That does not mean somebody has to look at their phone for two
No,
minutes.
you can set it
They
for a
have to look.
timer.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. I just want to
Because
clarify that because I'd be like, oh, that's easy. They get on my
you
phone
know
and
people are
scroll,
going to use
scroll.
the bathroom with their phone, disgusting as it is. Sometimes, yes. But yeah, 2 minutes. You can't tell me that you don't have 2 minutes after you number two and just do a fixed gaze um meditation. It trains presence for 2 minutes. And that's it. That's a start. And then we
Mm.
build up, we build up. But that is something we can get into just like here in this moment. And if you don't want to look at a doorknob for 2 minutes, I don't know. Another one is concentrating on your breath.
Mhm.
Breath in, breath out. And no judgment, just in, out, breath. In, out, breath. If your mind goes, name it. Like, oh, thinking about yesterday. Yesterday, back to breath. So after every breath, notate what you thought about. But we're trying to come back to breath. Because a lot of people's like, I tried meditation, didn't work. I tried meditation, it didn't work. Yeah, because you're working out. I tried to lift
Mhm.
a 50-pound dumbbell, it didn't work. Yeah, because you shouldn't just jump.
You can't jump to 50. You have to start small
I
and
can't
work
curl
your
a
way out.
50, like no matter how long I've been working out, right?
So the mental fitness is really building it up. You're building up the strength. It
Yes.
has to be habitual. You have to like, hey, this is now becoming easy with the 20 pounds. I'm ready to go to the 25
Mm-hmm.
or the 30. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that concept of like, yes, we have to start, practicing this daily since we go to the bathroom daily.
Something as you will, I feel like with aging parents, nothing is as sad as watching your parents like lose themselves. Like, don't wait for dementia to catch up or
Right.
Alzheimer's or all things. And I'm not saying that this will fix all the things, but it's so evident when our parents start losing themselves because their mind starts to go. It's like it's a part of growing up, you know.
Yeah.
And the same thing with having like a physical injury. It's because all these muscles haven't been used in a way, haven't been strengthened in a way. We have such a sedentary lifestyle. We drive everywhere, we sit all the time. It's not, we have to be very intentional about our physical and our mental, our emotional, all the things. And yeah, that's an opportunity to start here. So what I love about mental fitness is that it ripples into everything. It ripples into our wellness, our personal relationships, how we lead at work, is such a good ROI for 2 minutes. It's like, oh my gosh, I did all that just from after I used the bathroom. It's like,
Mm.
I am not reacting so quick anymore. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm spicy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can tell.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Love
For
the spicy mama.
For the women that are listening, is there one thing every woman should understand about herself, and what should it be?
Mm. Oof, you are already enough.
Mm.
You are already enough. You are the most interesting, most fascinating, most beautiful creature. Like, carry yourself that way. And maybe I'm projecting. Like, I needed to hear that as a child. I needed to hear.
Listen, we all need to hear it.
Yeah, we
We all
forgot.
need to hear it.
We gotta
Yeah.
be the one to tell ourselves in the mirror that you can do amazing things. You have traversed crazier-ish. You have.
You could just say it. Like, I say in the mirror sometimes, and especially like starting this podcast, I was like, "You the shit." Be like, "We don't know what we doing, but we doing it. We are gonna do it, and we are gonna put
Let it
our
be
all
messy.
into it." Yes.
Yes.
Which
We're
is,
just
the messy middle, and it's cyclical and we're kind of in it, but it's the having the autonomy of being able to articulate that, be able to say it out loud, be like, "Hey, look, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and I know if I keep at it,
Mhm.
it'll get better and better and better." That's
Mhm.
the positivity. I think that was the mental workout that I just had right now. The mental fitness, look at me.
Right?
Look at
It
me.
takes like, it lights up a different part of your brain as of, like because it's like, "Oh, it's working, it's working, it's working." One of the exercises that really touched me in our program was an exercise where you looked in the mirror and you said something that you loved about yourself. And I'm like and I cried because 100 100 times out of 100 when I look in the mirror, I look at my imperfection. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I needed a whole exercise to look at something I liked about me.
Can you share that exercise? Just for like for a woman that's listening right now to be like, hey, let's give them one exercise. I think that
It
one
was
is a good
yeah, it was
start.
so it was simple. It was simple. It was literally looking at your face and look at the thing that you love most about yourself. And the exercise is simple, but it's not easy. That's what it was. It was like look in the mirror and what do you like? And my first glitch is like, what do you mean? Look at I'm not gonna list all my imperfections, but I got them clocked. I like my mom is Asian. Asian beauty standards, there's a reason. Like it's popular and trending and the hub. It's like all the Asian beauty standards. And not to say like Asian beauty standards. I know what is wrong with my face, my body, everything. And that's all I think about. I don't make space. I didn't have the intention. I didn't have the practice to be like, I like this. I like this about me. I like this about me. On the regular, no. Because in fact, when I say it, I can hear it. Oh, this is like a cultural thing. Oh, if that's nice, the ghosts are gonna come take you because you're selfish and you're cocky. Like you legit. It's like we got our superstitions, but there was some
Mhm.
layer to it where you can't like what you see in the mirror.
Again, that's a condition.
It's a conditioning.
It's a condition that is ancestral.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes. So it's not a one-time thing. It's not a one exercise thing. And I told this to my clients. I'm like, I know you've been doing the work and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to heal. And this is not to put more pressure on you. Not, I just want to give you like out here perspective. You are not only healing for you are healing for 7 generations back and 7 generations
Yes.
forward. So
Yes.
don't feel like I've been at this for a month, 2 months, 6 months. Why? Because she can't see how far she's come. She's too like she can't see how far she's come when she looks back. She's looking forward and she's like, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. But what if I
Mhm.
told you is like you're doing this for your mother, your grandmother, your great 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 grandmother. Like you are in a
Mhm.
position to have these freedoms and to say these things and to live this life that they could not have. Like literally, if we're in America, our grandmother could not buy a house, could not get a credit card,
Right.
you know? And for us to like shrink and be small just kind of does a disservice on everything that they fought for. My parents, they're from Cambodia. I so is I have a little leeway of what I can imagine of what we had, but I know from the stories that my mom is telling me, having was not safe. There was a
Right.
lot of things not safe. I'm like, okay, if I chose to come through this bloodline, through this ancestry, like I don't really need to know the root because I could have got it in another lifetime, when I reincarnated as an alien or something. I don't know. But the point is, for me to get this message out and be who I deem like I'm proud of me, I have to go through the messy middle. Like, I'm the only person that I need to be proud of. I've been chasing my parents to be proud of me my whole life. When I graduate high school, they'll be proud of
Mm-hmm.
me. When I graduate college, they'll be proud of me. When I have this high-paying job and position, they'll be proud of me. And then my dad passed away, and he can't give it to me. Now it's like, okay, I actually have to give it to myself.
Yes.
Instead of, you're not enough, this isn't good enough. I have to give myself that validation. My son has to give himself this validation. I mean, he's a boy, he probably won't have that problem. But it's like, the guidance and the authority, like, if anything, I want him to follow his intuition and his feelings. And
Mm.
that his feelings and other people's feelings are valid. If anything, I think that we all have that common experience of like, feelings are scary. They're
Right.
scary and they take you off the path or something. But like for 50% of us, according to human design, your feelings are your intuition.
Mm.
Your intuition, your magic is in your feelings. We've been programmed specifically for my upbringing in the Khmer Rouge and what my parents experienced. Feelings got you
Right.
done. You can't get in there. You got to get going. You got to run. You got to traverse. You got to move. So for them, putting away our feelings kept them physically alive.
Mm.
Then now, if we don't get in touch with our intuition, I feel my fear for my son was waking up almost 40 and not recognizing the life he built.
Mm. Girl, tell the folks where they can find you. The guru, Coach Maura.
I am on Instagram at Maura IV. I am on LinkedIn, Maura IV. There's only one Maura IV. And my website, The Gifted Artists League, for more information. And come explore. I hope to see you there. Any questions, reach out.
Listen, I love you. And what
Oh,
you're doing, I think, is very, very impactful and so necessary. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing and providing the antidotes. And yes, I'll probably have you back on because I know I took the assessment and we were going to read it, but we'll come back on at another time so we can expose like who my saboteurs are. I know one of them we talked about the other day was the judge. Was it the judge or
the main one. We went
the
over the
for
controller.
but what was mine? The controller.
The
The
controller.
controller, yep, and that, anybody who's listening will be like, "Yep, Sandy has that saboteur." So, I I totally get it. So thank you so much. If
Thank you
you
for
like,
having me.
you're welcome, Mama. If you'd like to learn more about Maura's work or connect with her directly, you'll find all of her information and the links in the show notes. If this conversation resonated with you, you're not alone. This is exactly why this space exists. Elevate Within is for the high-achieving women in the messy middle, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's time to begin the process of unbecoming everything you were told you had to be, so you can become who you were always meant to be. Please be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to go deeper, join us on Substack at Elevate Within. There, you'll find weekly essays and honest conversations about burnout, grief, reinvention, resilience, healing, and the messy middle. If you know of a woman who needs to hear this conversation today, please share it with. Until next time, keep elevating personally, professionally, and from within. And before I go, if no one told you that they loved you today, I love you. Maura, I love you.
I love you. I love you so much.
Bye.
Bye.